Welcome to Her Real Estate Journey, the podcast where we celebrate and empower women in real estate. I'm your host, Lisa Dillon. Each week, we'll delve into their journeys from the struggles they've faced to the glories they've achieved. Our guests are rock star women agents who are sharing their experiences, insights, and advice to help you succeed in your own real estate career. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, this podcast is for you. Together, we'll explore the highs and lows of the real estate industry, learn from each other's experiences, and build a supportive community of women who are making their mark. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Let's get started. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm here with Erin Hybart today from Zachary, Louisiana, which is right outside of Baton Rouge for anybody who doesn't know. I'm in Macomb, Mississippi, so we're about an hour and a half apart. So I'm super excited to meet a local. And Erin has all kinds of stuff going on. She's not only a realtor, she's a flipper. She is a tiny house expert, and we're going to hear all about that. So what we do here at Her Real Estate Journey is we help new and seasoned agents get tips and tricks on how to build their career and learn something different, every week, every other week, and try to see what we can offer to help them in addition to helping you. So I'm super excited. Everyone meet Erin Hybart from Baton Rouge. Welcome, Erin.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So tell us, just give us a quick, who is Erin and how did you get into real estate?
So in 2017, I, like so many other people, saw this sign on the side of the street that said, we're having a career night at a local brokerage right outside the neighborhood. And so I got dressed, went over, and that's kind of where it started. That was in 2017. So it's been many years, and many units and stuff later, and a whole heck of a lot that I've learned in that time period. And I've been part-time. I've always been a dual career agent. So I've held full-time job, a day job, I call it. So real estate's kind of been the afternoon, weekends, evenings, kind of when I fit it in. But I'll say this, I've been able to keep up with some of those, what you'd call full-time agents. A lot of agents don't even realize I'm part-time, just because of the things that I've learned to do and implement, the systems and just the pieces that I've plugged in to really build the business around what I need, what the clients need, because I don't even want them to even realize. I tell them, of course, to be honest, but I tell them, hey, whenever you need it, we will get it done. Like I have a person, they're there. I may not know who they are yet, but I'm going to find them if I need them, so I make incredible partners too along the way.
That's awesome. So you were mentioning systems. What kind of systems do you use to keep everything flowing smoothly and keeping you on track?
So I've switched over the years, of course, kind of learning, just task management, picking a CRM, even just, keeping one singular email that has 1,000, logins and just keeping passwords organized. I've used things like ClickUp, Asana for really task management. OneNote has been helpful. I recently switched to Notion, which definitely has a learning curve, but it's very, very flexible for what I need right now. It's working pretty well. I've used a couple of CRMs, like Wise Agent, and then some of the brokerage ones that they offered, from them. But Notion's kind of my go-to right now, as far as keeping up to speed on the tasks, the CRM, different. You can create web pages for clients. If we're going to look at houses and it's an investment type buyer, I'll create a Notion page and just put all the information, my thoughts, the docs, just everything they would need, the HUD rent rates, for that parish, everything in one spot. So they literally click a button and can kind of find all the madness that's in my head on paper, right? Like I kind of just centralize it for them. And they like that. That's a really cool way to kind of interact with the clients.
I'm putting stars next to Notion because that's new to me. I'm gonna dig into that.
It's got a learning curve and it's so flexible. it's overwhelmingly amazing. And so if you can get the hang of it and hang in there, I mean, there are entire companies running off of it. Um, and it's super customizable. So I did some training on it, and I'm still learning. It's fun. It's been a journey to transform and move off of all these different other platforms that I was paying, a monthly fee for.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So when you say that what is your full-time job exactly?
I actually work for the Department of Children and Family Services. So I'm a
Okay.
state worker, 20
Okay.
years.
Okay.
Um, that is my official day job, kind of hopped and skipped around. So social services, just kind of in the people world. Um,
Well, you kind of might indirectly meet some people through this too, through that. So without
the
stepping on,
employees, yeah, I've had
yes.
definitely coworkers and stuff like that. And I guess, I'll be honest, being in any social service position, you are basically forced to interact at a very personal level with people very quickly. And
Hmm.
so now I do that, I guess, so much that I don't realize it. Like we can just jump into something, your life situation or the chaos in your life really quickly. And hopefully that's helped me just be able to be present and not get anxious or worried about, my asking questions that are going to make them upset. So
Right.
it's prepared me to just jump into the madness of real estate and humans when those get together.
And that gets, as we all know, the longer you're in it,
Oh,
the crazier it gets.
yeah, when there's humans involved.
That's awesome. I was also a state employee, so I
Okay.
get it. I was an inspector, food inspector. So, but yeah, that's awesome. Now, okay. So, and as far as the flipping the houses, is that in your other spare time?
Yes. Um,
Tell me a little bit about that.
I so I was blessed, and I'll say blessed because this had to be a God thing, that I got a cold call from someone who found me on realtor.com because I have a profile and I tell newer agents, get all that up because not only customers will find you, but other agents that need to refer business from other states. I've gotten a bunch of business just that way. A couple a year, I'll say, just referrals from other agents looking for agents. And when I have to refer to an area I don't have a contact for, I go to realtor.com. So if that's anything somebody takes away, go put your profile up.
That's a huge tip, and
Put
it's
more
free,
than a
right?
couple sentences, like really
Yeah.
put some thought, and I get comments and feedback on it. Just that it was actually there, right? And then I actually took time to write something. So that person, that investor found me through realtor.com, and I mean, it's basically transformed and created another business, outside
Wow.
of the agent hat. I get to wear
Mhm.
the flipper hat and the investor hat. And so kind of carried what I already had a passion for and interest and dabbled in on a personal level to a
Mhm.
business. And so I basically get to spend his money. And as long as I give him back more, he keeps giving it to me. So it's been a fun project. We closed on a house today. So it's,
Yay, congrats.
yeah, we'll see where that lands. We'll see where that
So
lands and
you
kind of builds
so
out.
you find him the houses and then you work together as a flipper and then you turn around and
Sometimes.
list it. You list the property too? Okay,
Yeah.
so you're working it full
Yeah.
circle. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And then because he's got his own kind of setup just to find properties as well, like on a nationwide level. And so um yeah, he's definitely got a lot of knowledge that I get to pick his brain and get insights on these big
Wow.
auctions and what's going on in these different parts of the country, and he's talking to the banks, and I basically get like free access to his to pick his brain. It's been really, really cool and really
That's
fun.
incredible.
Yeah.
Are you able to use his flips on in other parts of the country to use those as referrals, or does he have agents kind of strategically wherever he works?
Yeah, he's got partners. We
Okay.
haven't really stepped into that world yet just because we've been more busy in just the Louisiana area. And so we
Gotcha.
haven't ventured there. But yeah, he's got a lot of partnerships and stuff that he's been doing for 20 years, kind of his book of
Wow.
business. So
You never know just what that one person It's
No,
unbelievable. That's
never
interesting.
know. Never know. And they found me on realtor.com.
From your profile that you took the time to do.
Yes. I
Guys,
mean,
there's a hint. There's a huge
yes,
tip.
like that. I tell other agents here, like, if I'm going to go look on your realtor.com profile, if I'm not impressed with you there, I don't need to call you. Like,
Exactly.
and it's kind of like when a person is looking for their agent, right? Like I'm looking for an agent as well
Hmm.
to give my client to, or, some type of business. And so I'm gonna go check you out online. Um,
Absolutely.
it's important for other agents and then just the consumer side too. I found them, I'll get a couple of clients that kind of find me there as well, but really the other agents is where I'm getting the business from for that. And it's free. So it's hard not to
Absolutely.
do it. Why wouldn't you do it?
Absolutely. Another little free tip is the same thing, basic thing on Zillow, but where
Mhm.
you enter your past sales on there. I did that for a long time. I got a ton of business from that and it's free.
Yep.
So,
It
okay. So now let's move on to your tiny house
is.
stuff.
Yes,
So Erin has a website. It's Erin, I'm assuming
it
realestateerin.com.
is. Yeah.
And that's her website. And I have checked it out, and she's got all kinds of really cool stuff on there and about tiny houses and ADUs. So tell
Mhm, mhm,
us a little about how you can transition that. How does that
mhm.
help your real estate business? Or are they
Well,
totally separate? Totally separate.
they're always intertangled, right? Because real estate's
Okay.
everywhere, and it's everywhere you look is real estate. And then tiny houses, I've had a passion because I've lived in smaller spaces. We lived in an RV after a hurricane and just, different things like that. I've always appreciated it. And so I've been drawn to smaller structures, of course, the HGTV glamour of it. And then I just started exploring. And really just started learning about it. We've got a committee out in Baton Rouge doing a tiny house community for homeless persons.
Love
So
that.
we've been doing that for many years, still very slow, but
Okay.
it's been a way to connect with other people doing communities, whether it's for profit or nonprofit, on a big scale, right? Just all over the country.
Wow.
And I'll tell you now, with just the housing prices and the buyers specifically coming to me, and even the older clients living in these giant houses, a lot of people just want to live more simple and smaller,
Mhm.
especially after some of these, the floods or the hurricanes, and people have lost everything and had to restart. They really get to the core of what they can keep. And they're like, oh gosh, it could be gone within an hour. Like in a second, you could lose everything. What am I going to replace? How much space do I need? And so it's kind of been the struggle of some of the buyers that I've ran into, kind of intertangled into the tiny house and ADU world. Um, and not just the ones that people are traveling in and it's kind of glamorous because they're hanging out on the beach and, they just live wherever, whenever. It's just smaller structures in general. People are having to put, or not having to put, they're choosing to put maybe, some type of tiny home or tiny structure in their backyard because their parents want to live close.
Hmm.
Nursing homes, they're not cheap. I mean, if you price that, and then you still got to go visit and, just all these other things versus let's keep mom and dad or an adult child that maybe has some need to live close, and
Mhm.
live nearby. Um, Besides COVID, that also taught us, hey, I need an extra space for something. So let me put a tiny house for an office or a YouTube studio. Some people are doing that. So it's really cool. There's a lot, I would say this, tiny homes in general solve a lot of issues for a lot of different people, whether it's someone on a fixed income that just needs to live more affordably, someone who needs extra income and wants to put a rental or do some kind of, Airbnb, uh,
Mhm.
or someone retiring. They don't need all that. They want to maybe give their kids their big house and move in the backyard and kind of flip flop, right? And some of the people that I've kind of interacted with, they're trying to get rid of some of these assets before they pass away just because of some of the inheritance stuff, taxes and just the stuff that you have to deal with, or that you, well, someone has to deal with after you pass away. And they just want to deal with it now, enjoy the fruits of their labor, and just kind of take it that way. And so it's been a fun journey. That's definitely the direction I wholeheartedly hope that we're going to see tiny houses on the MLSs soon. We're seeing some. They don't really have their own category yet, but I think that as we go, just people like in California, they're putting ADUs in people's, in the backyard. Agents are having to figure out, how do I comp this out? How is it going to appraise? My investor,
Yes.
can we put an ADU at this property? Can I literally turn this into a two-family property and double the rental income? So it's just that it's going to change real estate, or it is changing real estate, right? Because these agents, I mean, they don't know what an ADU is, and then they have to go learn all about it. So hopefully,
Yeah, what exactly? It's accessory dwelling unit?
accessory dwelling
Okay,
unit,
okay.
accessory dwelling unit, yes.
So that
Um,
could be like a new build, or that could be maybe a garage apartment.
yeah,
Okay.
there's lots and lots of ways um, to create that space, because some are smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Garage, is usually not that big, and then some are 1,200 square feet, and it's a two-bedroom house in the backyard. Um,
Wow.
it's really, especially in the more popular areas, changing how agents are having to, or new things, for agents to learn about. Even here, there's not a lot of information for agents. So hopefully what I'm doing is bringing
Yes,
knowledge to the real estate world.
definitely.
Because agents are going to be running into it, especially if it's, even if, they're seeing the Airbnbs and just the short-term rentals, and um, exploring different opportunities for properties, like really maximizing their return on
Right.
a property that catches their eye. It's like, wow, I can make this, but wait, I can also do this and make even more, and so it's really cool from an investment standpoint.
Absolutely. I'm just going through my mind all the different things that you could do, and if, like, let's just say you didn't need it for an older child and your child moved off, well, now you have rental income, or you have, you could put a nurse in there, or a college student,
Yeah,
make enough money. That's neat. I love that.
it
Um,
is
yeah, so
worth exploring.
okay. So on your, let's see. So what, I know that you wanted to talk about, what are some of the pros and cons of tiny houses? The first thing I think, holy cow, 400 feet. How could I
Yeah.
possibly live in that?
Yeah,
But it's something to definitely think about.
yeah, yeah. Well, and I'll tell you this, Lisa, we've got the whole, what is a tiny house? What is a tiny home?
Hmm.
And I didn't even really have the words at first to describe it, because I'm like, I know what it is, but how do I like explain it to other people? Because even ADUs in there. So I did a video just to kind of go through the highlights of each. And me personally, hopefully I'm defining what a tiny home is versus a tiny house. And that tiny house, because that's in the building code, right? They tell us what a tiny house is, and that is the structure under 400 square feet. Um, but I kind of just lumped together tiny homes as an umbrella, where tiny houses sit underneath. And
Okay.
so that's just the smaller living structures, whether it's I wouldn't say a legal living structure, but some people live in RVs, they live in
Hmm.
yurts, just lots of structures. They're turning airplanes, like old airplanes, into, I've seen them as Airbnbs, tree houses,
Wow.
just all these novelty spaces, and people are flocking to,
Something different.
like, oh, I can live in this old
Si
West, like, and like hang out in the old West, or
and in a silo. That's
yes,
like a
there's
green
just
silo. It's really
there's
neat.
so many different things that I've learned about. The 3D printing, that is something else coming up pretty big. Um,
Wow.
Especially with the most recent storm, the people that lost just everything trying to get any kind of housing, and things like 3D printing, like in other countries, mostly other countries, you can get a 3D printed house in less than a week.
Oh
So
my
you can
gosh.
really have a structure for someone to sleep in. Obviously, it's not glamorous and it's not what you used to have, but it's yours. You're not in a shelter, you're not in a
Right?
hotel. You have a roof over your head, you have your basic needs met, and it's there and it went up really quick and it's usually, sustainable as far as resources, going into it. So there's so many different things that I could literally hear and take up your entire week just talking about. But
That's
yeah, tiny homes is such an eclectic kind of category for
and
people.
there's aren't there some is it less than 400 square feet? There's no taxes, no property taxes on it. Is that
Well,
some
because
kind
then you
of
get into
something like
like, is it on a permanent foundation versus not?
gotcha.
So kind of getting into that. And so, oh, there's going to be some property taxes if it's on a permanent foundation. And then if it's not, then it's an RV or something. So it's really cool to see how the different industries or are being created from this. We have to have tiny house inspectors, tiny house appraisers, tiny house lenders, tiny house lending
Oh,
programs, banks, the FHA and Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, they're having to revise their guidelines to
wow.
accommodate ADUs now. And so there's a lot of change and just things that are being birthed, loan programs that didn't exist 5 years ago that help you afford these structures, help you to invest in them. Even the people that are specializing in designing them or helping you work through the process, the general contractors that only do that now versus just I guess a regular house, so to speak.
Right. How would you how would you make that small space more functional and like feel more spacious so you don't feel so claustrophobic in it?
I think that's the most common question besides, do I have a real bathroom? Like how do I maintain hygiene? Right? That's kind of the big
Yes.
one is like, well, I have all this stuff. And, there's always tips and tricks. Um,
Hmm.
a lot of things that I've seen some specialty furniture that's even being built and developed, to kind of accommodate these smaller spaces. Um, some of the tips people are using, they're using space differently. They're using, as far as the vertical space, they're hanging things from the ceiling. Um, I've seen lots of things with, the Murphy beds, of course. That's an easy one to kind of imagine that people are familiar with,
Yes.
and just doing things that are dual purpose, multi-purpose, furniture that you probably don't sleep and eat at the same time. So like why have two spaces for it, or one or
Right.
the other. And it's incredible how creative people are getting. Um, and how some of these areas will be 2, 3, 4 functions, and you're like, that is crazy. How did y'all even think of that? But I don't know, they're doing it. But yeah, the vertical space is huge. That's the big one. Besides sneaking in, stuff, people are raising their mattresses. They're using all that storage underneath for
Hmm.
efficient, right? Efficient spaces for storage and stuff. That's usually, and people are going to have to get rid of some stuff. I mean, you're not going to take everything and put it in that small space, but you probably won't forget you have things, you know. You
You
probably
can't lose
won't
your keys.
you
It'd be
probably won't
harder to
end up,
lose your keys and lose your
yes, with
phone.
4 and 5 wine openers because you're like, I forgot I had one, so I bought another one. Like, no, I saw it because I don't have a lot of things to see. And so it's some of those things that I guess we some habits and things over the years, we kind of clean that up and get a little free from the stuff that's holding us down
That's that's
hostage.
true because it always feels good when you get rid of stuff. You just feel lighter. At least I do.
Yes. People want
Yeah.
to know why to go on vacation. And I'm like, I go there because it's not cluttered. I don't have all
Right.
this stuff. Like I have like 5 things in the room and I just hang out and play cards or,
And that's it.
hang out
That's
with the
great.
kids. You have less distractions,
Hmm.
you get to really connect with things and nature and people and passions, hobbies, or just get your dang time back because
Exactly. You're not
a
spending
lot
time
less.
cleaning and maintaining and all the things.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's get back to your real estate hat that you need to
Yes.
wear. So What's your do you have a specialty? Do you do mostly residential?
I do, as far
Okay.
as not commercial or industrial or anything. I do try to focus on listings just because, of
Okay.
course, that's efficient
Yeah.
with my schedule. And I'll tell you this, I got licensed in 2017.
Hmm.
We had only been here for about 2 years in the city that we lived in. So my sphere was not in my market. It was not going to be realistic for me to run an hour and a half, 2 hours away to go handle something for my sphere. So
Right.
I had to create another sphere. Like I had to get to know people, which I hadn't really put a lot of emphasis on it. I was just working here and taking care of the kids, just doing the normal thing. I didn't know 100 people even. One of the things that I've done that has really propelled me and really hopefully made a name for myself that people either
Hmm.
know my name or my face, for good reasons, of course. One of the things that I started back in right when I started in 17 was started a Facebook group called Live in Zachary. And the thought was that when I was researching our area, which happens to have a lot of plants and just industrial work where people move here for a couple of years and then move out. So we have a lot of turnover. And we have a lot of out-of-state buyers that come in. When we moved, even though we weren't coming from a different state, I wanted to know just everything about Zachary, right? I wanted to know whatever I could. And there was no central place for me to kind of connect it all. So the thought was that I was going to start a group. I was going to meet people, help people, just share posts from other places, the city of Zachary, the chamber, these other groups, the moms groups, just whatever businesses, and just share it to one place so that eventually if people need to know something, it's probably going to be somewhere in there, or if they have questions or need a resource. Because that was huge. Finding resources. I had none, so I had to go find them too. So it was killing a couple birds with one stone. So that group has really um
That,
it's grown. I think a lot of my business comes from a connection made there
wow.
specifically.
And it's called Live in Zachary.
Live in Zachary. Yeah.
That's
Live in Zachary.
what an awesome tip as far as if you're a brand new agent or even if you're seasoned, just to get your face out there. And that's
Yeah.
just what a cool idea.
Yeah. We
Okay. And
try to
how,
share everything into that group,
yes,
stuff with schools and whatever.
that is super. And then as far as like, did you have other ways that you grew your sphere as well, or is that your top one?
That's probably the top one besides just, getting referrals from those relationships that I've built. Um, I will say this, a lot of business comes to me. I'm not doing open houses. I'm not cold calling. Um, I didn't love any of that. It wasn't me. I'd
Yeah.
rather just meet a random person for coffee and just get to know them that I meet. And in fact, I actually just started another group a couple weeks ago, kind of as a joke, but it's picking up. And
Okay.
it's a singles group for our area. And so now we just have these random people meeting up at, we go to dinner, we go watch the music, the live band, the little, music festival on the weekends, and just people interacting, people that don't get out the house and they don't um, maybe don't know a lot of people, right? Because a lot of people in our area specifically, they're transplants. I mean, it's almost weird to find people that have been here their whole life in our
Wow.
city specifically.
That's interesting. So how do people that you meet through that page, how are they generally they're just like inboxing you, your new leads, or how do they know you're a realtor? How are you kind of throwing that in there a little bit without it being overbearing?
So, yeah, I definitely don't want to do that because I don't want to. That's not the purpose of the group. It's really just to connect with the people. I wouldn't
Hmm.
say that these people find me and then automatically like I need to buy a house, day one.
Right.
It's really just interacting, answering their questions when they find the group, or inviting them if they're in another group to the group, and kind of like not lead genning unofficially, but connecting with people.
Right.
But sometimes they just inbox me and they say, oh, I need to do this. I need to do this. My cousin, my neighbor. whatever it is, or I have this coming up, whatever, just hopefully I don't put in there so much about real estate. Of course, we'll answer questions, and I kind of have some automated posts and stuff. That's really a really good tip for groups to have some automated post. Um, but I try not to, I guess, cover them in real estate stuff. It's really just about the city. And then I'll throw it in,
Right.
I'll advertise a house, I'll market a house. Um, and I let other agents market their houses. I'm like, the more the merrier. I want to celebrate you, and I might check out your listing and do a video on it, or something, for a buyer that I might pick up. You never know what. So I think it's just using the group to connect with people that I wouldn't ordinarily run into,
Mm.
by chance. I might go to the same grocery store, but how likely am I just to pick up a conversation with you in the soup aisle? I probably won't spend that time because I've got two jobs. I gotta go. Like,
Right.
um,
Right.
so this way we just get to connect, and they might see their kids celebrated on their birthday from the school, if I share a school post, and so they're like, oh, that's my baby. And so
Oh.
it just kind of connects us. So yeah, I'll say just I think that's been huge. I get a lot of feedback. People will inbox me with just they're appreciative that the group is not negative, right? It's definitely
Mhm.
that's kind of the we set the tone. Like, we're not doing this rant and raves. We have those. Um, we get rid of those kind of posts. It's just to celebrate the small businesses, connect the people, get
Yeah.
information out there, hopefully have a kind of centralized place to kind of catch things, or um, stuff like that. So it's one of the bigger groups on Facebook for our city, besides some of these other rant and raves that naturally grow on their own.
I absolutely love that. I think I'm gonna, and probably a lot of people I would think would, especially small town people. There's a lot of small town agents, me included, that would be huge, and that would definitely make you stand out from other agents. And as a new agent, just kind of just put it in there a little bit that you're an agent, not
Yeah,
overblasted. It's all about the city, and you're just the
yeah,
helpful person, and you just happen to be a realtor.
yeah. Like, oh, guess what new neighborhood, or guess what got approved on planning and zoning, or just anything to weave it in. Check
Yeah,
out this cool listing that I saw. Like, oh my gosh, I need this bathroom. I'm hoping they sell it on its own. Like, kind of just by the bathroom people, and kind of making it fun, and just
right.
knowing, having them connect, right? The more it's kind of like whenever, and we know this right now during election time, you're plastered with signs. I mean, there's like a
Yes.
bazillion. And sometimes it's just the more signs you have, the more people remember you, right? Like, that's just naturally how we do. And so that's one of the things, like, people know my name, but they don't know why they know my name. They're like, Aaron, like, I think I've seen your face, or what. So just having that, right? Just that repetition, people recognize you, and it's I will say this lovingly, some of the top agents that are like selling 4 and 5 times what I'm doing as a part-time agent, they're noticing. They've made comments that they're like, "Oh, you're people know you, right?" And it's not like a like an ego thing, but because really I just want to go hide and just do my groceries, and I don't want to like sit and talk in the soup aisle, but people notice. I think that's, other agents, and for referral business too. If I'm getting something from another city that's a little bit further out, we can switch clients and make sure we're serving our clients at a high level. That way, because other agents that are not in our area, then if their clients or their referrals are moving here, they might stumble
Mhm.
upon it and say, "Hey, this is a really cool group. You should go join it."
Yeah,
And say, "Oh my
definitely.
gosh, she's an agent. I can give her a referral."
Thank you.
On purpose.
Thank you for the referral.
Yeah.
That's super.
Yeah.
Um, so what would you say sets you apart, like as far as your service to your clients? What sets you apart from other agents?
So if I am, I tell clients this, some of the things that I do differently is I have a very strong position on dual agency, which is
Hmm.
totally legal in Louisiana and lots of other states. And I often choose not to do it. And I go into that with them. So being kind of honest and transparent about big things that are important to me, um, and just letting them know, from a, I guess, customer service side, I'm not going to fight with you, but I'll fight for you. And so
Mm,
allow me to overwhelm you. We'll sort it out. It's going to be a lot. This is a war. We're going to win it. This is the strategy. I'm asking you to trust me. And that's hard. That is hard because there are lots of agents out there on different levels and calibers and specialties, and they have different ethics and standards. Um, but yeah, I tell clients we go to war. We're gonna know our opponent. We're gonna play out this, it's like a game of chess. Like we're gonna look a couple moves ahead. We're gonna try to
mhm.
do damage control over anything we think that's gonna pop up. Um, it just I wouldn't say overwhelm them, but also shelter and protect them. Like really insulate them and make a part of the journey, get on their level. Um, if they're buying a piece of property that's $10,000,
Mhm.
awesome. If it's 1 million, awesome.
Awesome.
You're gonna get me, right? We're gonna
Right.
go do the same thing. Like, yeah, we're looking at different pieces. That's all that's different, right? And they don't they don't feel different based on what they're buying or how much they're spending or how much I'm making
Hmm.
or whatever, right? Because I mean, I might make $100. That might be my commission. I might make 10,000, or
Right.
whatever it is. And so they're just as important as the next person. And just being honest and let them know I'm here to serve you at a high level. If I can't do that, I've got tons of people to help plug in. And,
Mhm.
we're just all kind of here, kind of carrying you along this river till the end. Um,
Absolutely. And I think those lower price points. So what's your average price point where you're at about?
I will say the homes in Zachary, we're really at the 225, 250 mark.
Okay.
I wouldn't say that's our entry point, but to find something under that 200 is pretty hard in our area.
Gotcha. Yeah, we're the 175, 200 range.
Mhm.
So we have a lot of Louisiana people moving up to us because it's much cheaper in
More
this
bang for the
area.
buck. Yes.
Yes. But I actually get a lot of joy from those low price points, not because your check is low or anything, but it's usually people that just really need the help.
I do.
And I've sold to a pregnant single mom, sold her a $4,000 piece of property. And you cry at the closing table and it's just
Yes.
sweet. And the people
Yes.
that you take the time to do that, they love you. They're going to send you everybody.
Yes.
So who treat them
Yes.
absolutely treat them exactly the same because you don't know
Yes.
where they'll be in 5 years, what family
No.
member they have.
No, no. If you look at my phone, it's always going off because it's always someone sending me a Bible quote or a funny meme, and it's all clients. And it's just
Isn't that
we
great?
just interact, and I'm like, how's your mustard greens, or it doesn't matter who you are, what you look like. Like we can be friends. We can
Right.
find a commonality, right? We're human, so we're automatically um we have that in common. Just treating them, no different. I think that's because I've had so much experience in the social service world and I've had to deal with people that are in crisis that are
Mhm.
homeless, from people that had everything yesterday and now it's all gone, or the flood, different shelter and disaster options has humbled me, and I've seen people at just every point in their life, and it keeps you humble. Just be you.
Absolutely.
Just be you. Don't be someone else. They don't need that.
You can be yourself any time of
Be
day, but
goofy. Be
you have to
goofy.
try so hard to not be yourself.
No, it's extra work. I
Just be
think it
you.
causes wrinkles and gray hair. So I think you should just be yourself.
I love that.
I
Just
think
be
that's what it is.
yourself.
Just
Causes
just be
wrinkles and gray
you.
hair. So
Yeah.
funny.
It could be true.
Oh my gosh. Well, we are getting to the end, and I have a question that I always like to ask
Okay,
everybody.
I'm
It's not
ready.
hard. So, what is your one transaction that you have that just brought your heart great joy? And there's usually one that'll pop up and you might have not made a lot of money on it. You might have, but you just really, really either change somebody's
Yeah.
life or really help somebody.
I have a lot of those. And so picking one is pretty hard. Because I honestly love the first time home buyers and the people that don't know anything. I tell them, I was like, I'm so excited. I love that you don't know anything because there's nothing I have to undo. Um, I have so many. There's one, I'll say this. We worked together for 2 years to kind of get him ready in a position to buy. And he told me his wish list, and we didn't find that exact property, but we found the opportunity for him. And he was so grateful. Like, I still talk to him daily, and
Oh.
you know, he just become a really good friend, and cook gumbo for him, you know, whenever it gets colder. And he's really grateful. Like, he tells everybody about me and just brags on me. And I'm like, I'm just me. Like, I'm just normal. Like,
Mhm.
that you don't have to say all that. But he's become a really good friend, and just kind of one of those people that, you know, when you need something, he's around.
Mhm.
And his family, and I got to go know his grandkids and kind of watch all that happen. And it's really cool. It's really cool because I know that what he thought he wanted was not what he could get,
Mhm.
but we found the opportunity to let him get, because he wanted a big shop. He wanted a man shop. And so we found the opportunity that let him have the shop, and it just looked a little different, but he was totally okay with it. So he still brags on me, and it's flattering. And
That's so
but
cool.
yeah.
You totally changed his life. I love it.
Oh yeah, he got everything
Not
he
a
wanted. Didn't even know
Mhm.
it was possible, because he didn't. A lot of people don't think they can really get what they want, and it's like, okay, let's
Mhm.
look at it from a different angle. Let's break this apart and see if we can get creative. And we did. So here we are. He's got his shop.
That is awesome. Yeah, so many, my husband included, so many guys buy a house for the shop or the yard or where they
Yeah.
can put their grill, and they don't
Yeah.
even care about the house. They're just all about
No,
the shop.
no,
It's it's very strange to
yeah,
me, but they love it.
it happens a lot. Um, yeah. So that's a fun
Oh,
one. That's the one. That's just because he's in my daily world.
yes. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. It's
Yeah.
Look, we're about to wrap it up. And I just want to thank you, Erin, so much. And y'all,
Thank
everybody go
you.
check out her webpage,
Loving some tiny houses.
reerin.com, Rerin, Erin.com, because there's a lot of cool stuff in there and all about tiny houses and all the things.
Damn.
And it was wonderful speaking with you. And I just want to thank you so much for being on her real estate journey, and maybe hopefully meet you since we are not far from each other at all.
Oh, don't tempt me with a road trip, because I will put it on my calendar and
I
make it
am
happen.
all about a road trip. We've got to make that happen.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Erin, for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Her Real Estate Journey. I hope you're inspired to conquer your own real estate path. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Follow us on social media for updates and more stories. Until next time, keep shining and make your mark. I'm Lisa Dillon, and this is Her Real Estate Journey.